I'm Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show, and we are talking with Lee, Macon, Jason, John.
Molly and Haley.
Okay. About Mustang Island. So the very first thing that I have to ask, and this one's actually for you, John.
Okay.
I don't think we actually got a proper definition on the difference between a sugar daddy and a sugar buddy.
You know, a sugar buddy is just a friend who takes you out and has a jet ski. He's just a cool guy. There's nothing weird about the relationship at all.
If you say there's nothing weird, I'll believe it. Okay. Since this kind of centers around your two characters, you know, meeting for the first time and developing a relationship, I wanted to ask, is there any autobiographical stuff that you put into it? I mean, any real life with your characters?
I mean this with all due respect to Craig's screenplay, but I hope not. I mean,
Okay.
I tried to build it, but I don't know. You tell me.
We eat steak in bed every once in a while, and I tell I tell really bad jokes, and I brush my teeth on a regular basis. But other than that, I think that it's very. What is it like? Not completely different, but it's not. Yeah.
On a detail level, maybe, but macro.
Well, we always like to see if there's any, you know, personal stories that get involved in, you know, what you do.
Right.
You know, what happens when you're an artist.
Yeah.
So, what I find interesting about this film is it's kind of the difference of starting a new relationship but recycling an old one, and you can't make a choice of which one is the best. So I'm curious to know what your perspective on that is. Do you feel it's better to recycle an old relationship or seek a new one?
I am not the right person to ask that question.
And you can't pass on that if it's like, no, too dangerous of a question.
It's a minefield, brother. John?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, seek a new one, I would think. If you're having that many doubts, maybe hit the road.
Only you can answer that. Every relationship is different, but you know, this movie could help you decide if you find yourself in that kind of situation.
Put that on the poster. This movie can help you.
Okay. All right.
Flip a coin. Just flip a coin. Right?
So,
yeah.
like I said, it's a very unique story, and I love the fact that it's done in black and white. Do you feel that the black and white enhances the film as a metaphor because there's, you know, or many shades of gray?
I don't know about the metaphor, but it was definitely, it kind of sets the movie a couple of degrees apart from the real world a little bit, so that the sort of the timeless quality that Craig brought to it wouldn't seem out of place. You knew that you were in movie worlds, and the way people behaved could work within that. So it was a smart
Another
thing.
little details like there's not being any cell phones in this reality maybe seems less weird when it's in black and white. It seems like more of a fantasy world.
And it's the off season, it's winter, so I feel like it helps establish that.
And everybody looks good in black and white. I feel like, I don't know, I was like, ooh, everybody's very handsome and very beautiful. Even Galveston's beautiful as it is, but then you put it in black and white, like, this is a classy ass city.
Can we actually make this like black and white?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
You know, that would be interesting. Is there any favorite moment of the film that you guys have?
I like the recurrent deja vu joke. Yeah. But no, my favorite shot is actually John and Byron on the dune buggy.
Oh yeah.
Coming down the strip. That's my absolute favorite shot of the whole thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the jet ski.
Second favorite, but first favorite is the
There's
dune
a lot
buggy.
of good transportation shots, a lot of good eating.
Yeah.
I like all the beach scenes. All the beach scenes I think are really, really beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so you guys don't have to answer because you've already answered this for the other movie.
No, I've been thinking hard about it.
Oh, you want it again?
I'll go last.
Okay. Because we're That Nerd Show, we always have a really nerdy question that we ask all of our filmmakers. So we're going to go right down the line. Basically, it's if you're a superhero or a supervillain, what would your superpower be and why? What superpowers do you want?
Yeah, no, I'd be able to seek out ice cream anywhere. So, like, if I was at any given place, I'd know where the closest place I could get like a tub.
So basically, you'd be the ice cream GPS.
That's me.
All
Yeah.
Why not just create it?
Well, John, come on, it's magic.
What about you?
Wake up with invisible.
All right. I'm already scared of you now if you want that.
stop time.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do pretty much anything.
That is true. What about you, John?
I mean, flying. How can you not choose flying? I mean, I have dreams. That'd be the best.
Why don't you just make an app for it, John?
It's called an airplane.
Did you have a different answer?
No, still turn into a wolf at night.
All right.
Without a doubt.
I do like that.
Without a doubt.
I'd be a really good negotiator. Is that a lame power? Because you could save so many things and do really bad things and really good things.
Studio deal?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Good.
Well, thank you for interviewing with That Nerd Show. It was a great film. So, and I do love the deja vu joke. I'm Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show, and we're with Michael and Michael from Mustang Island, producers, and we got to talk a little bit about this film. I thought it was a great film. So, how did you guys? How did this come to you?
Well, it started as a short that we made in Corpus Christi several years ago. That we made basically as an excuse to go to the beach with our friends, and it turned out really well. And we did well on the festival circuit. It came here, and it had a really good reception here as well. And people kept asking us if we were going to turn it into a feature. And Craig had kind of always had an idea about what he would want to do if he did that. So we expanded it, and it kind of took on a life of its own. Here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. We did the short, and it turned out to be a really good success. And the cast and crew involved in the movie we've worked with for 10 years, and particularly Lee and Macon. I think Craig and Nathan wanted to do specifically something for them, and so that was kind of where the project started off.
I mean, what is it about this? I mean, what do you really love about Mustang Island? I mean, as a story.
I think that what I love about Mustang Island as a story is that it works with a host of flawed characters and tells their story as it really is for them, without any judgment. I mean, it's not a story with a lot of likable characters, but it has a sweet heart all the same, and it's a pretty honest portrayal of what it's like to kind of rouse yourself out of heartbreak, and either move on to something new or find something with the person that you were with that you didn't see before. It's a true story, I feel like. It's been that way.
I think it's a story that everybody can identify with, because I think we've probably all, gone back to a relationship that we felt safe in, even though it wasn't the best relationship, versus seeking out trying to get a new one.
Right.
So, do you feel like it's better to go back into a relationship or to seek out a new one, personally?
That's a tough question because I actually just went through a breakup, but so I'm kind of on both sides of the fence.
Well, we're not trying to have the Oprah moment on that nerd show. I mean.
But yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, there's some things you want to hang on to, but then, of course, you got to move on. But I think it's particularly interesting in the case of Mustang Island how almost all the characters are sort of like going through smaller versions of breakups between each other, even the friends, and so it's kind of exploring the types of relationships that even that friends can have amongst themselves, as well as in the context of a relationship.
Okay, so we got one nerdy question we love to ask all of our filmmakers. It's something special with That Nerd Show, and this year's question: if you could be a superhero or supervillain, what superpower do you want and why?
I mean, I feel like it's got to be magic, right? Doctor Strange, he's got all the powers. I'd probably go with that one.
Very true.
I'd probably go villain and invisibility.
Okay. I'm already afraid of you.
That's real cool.
And by the way, I'm Marcus with That Nerd Show, and we're talking with Craig and Nathan. And, what is, you've done some screenings, so, I mean, what has been the reaction so far?
Yeah, we had our premiere yesterday, and it was great. I mean, we couldn't have asked for more. It's always a little dicey going in with a comedy that doesn't have a lot of dialogue and black and white, but everyone seemed to be laughing and super receptive and laughing at jokes I never expected to get a laugh out loud, so it was great.
Yeah.
Well, besides the line about sugar daddy and sugar buddy, which John finally gave us a definition on.
Did he?
So, yeah, we got that now.
Nice.
Great. I love the use of the deja vu joke.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I mean, was that on purpose, or did you just kind of by accident come to and like, let's put that in?
No, and you know what's actually funny? We wrote the joke, but then we've been trying to figure out if we've been to a club named Club Deja Vu. We're not quite sure.
I feel like we went to one at one point.
At some
Like,
point,
I
we
can't
stumbled
remember.
into one.
I feel like whether it's a college town or a big city, there's always got to be a club called Deja Vu.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Must
And the
have.
fact that you can't really remember, but it feels like you've been there, just adds to the brilliance of it.
Yeah.
Why shoot in black and white? I mean, I felt like it was more of a metaphor on the story because, you know, well, or at least the shades of gray, you know,
Right.
with the story. Is that what you were going for, or something different?
Well, we did a short film called Molly a few years ago that played Dallas as well, and that was in black and white. So the whole time we were developing this movie, we were thinking about it as a black and white film, and just with this kind of style of comedy and the tone and the world we're trying to create, it seemed like black and white kind of just does a lot for you in that sense and buys you a lot right at the beginning. So we kind of always thought about that way and decided to stick with the black and white.
Now, since we've been talking about kind of the main thing of, you know, the choice that Macon's character has to do, you know, did you recycle something old that you feel safe with, or do you know, leap out and go with a new relationship?
Right, comfort versus risk.
Right. From a personal standpoint, you know, do you feel like it's better to go with something new or to recycle something old?
I think it's probably always better to go with something new, and I always go with something old.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie's about a lot of things, but some of that relationship stuff is about how, you know, our lead is at times kind of childish and foolish and creates a lot of problems for himself. But in reality, I think we all kind of do that to an extent, you know, so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got to ask the nerdy question again.
Okay.
Like I said, this is take 2, so hopefully you've had some time to think about it.
Yeah.
If you were a superhero or villain, what would your superpower be and why?
Being at this film festival, I think my superpower would be remembering people's names. Which
do you need a tip sheet too?
I do. I do. You? Oh, yeah. But see, that's
Yeah,
smart.
yeah,
That's smart.
exactly.
That's smart. I need it right away.
Mine would be to be able to freeze time so that I could have time to take naps, to get a little bit more sleep. Think about that often in the morning.
Right. Welcome to day 4 to 5 of the
Right,
festival.
right,
I
right.
completely understand.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, thanks a lot, guys,
Thanks
for
so
doing
much,
another
man.
interview with us, and good luck with the film.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.